Back to Wine du Jour. We're having a good time here at Marché Bacchus French Bistro Restaurant. And, you know, we talked about the Albarino and the other two varietals that have 5% each in it, so it's not very much. This is a wine that will go with a lot of things, not just the crab ravioli that we have here that the chef has put together. But let me tell you some of the other things. If you have shrimp or if you have lobster or if you have any kind of shellfish, it would go very well with this wine. This would go so well with some sushi, I can tell you that right now. And it goes pretty well with spicy food or any type of spicy meat it would go very well with. And of course, two of the fruits that I think this just jumps out and says, I can take that, would be mangoes. Now, you can take mangoes and put them in salsa if you like. That's one thing you can do. Or another one that I like is passion fruit. So passion fruit with this wine, it would be delicious as a combination. So those are some of the things that I think that would go very well with. Now let's talk about wine number two. And I'm going to ask Claudia if she'd explain to us about wine number two. And before we do that, I want to mention something that I didn't talk about so far, is the cost. The cost of these wines. This beautiful first wine that we had is around $28, $30, $32, depending on what part of the country that you're going to be in. Okay, let's go to wine number two. Claudia?
Perfect. Well, the second wine you will taste tonight, it's called Regina Viarum Godello. And with an American accent, I'm going to see if I can make it. Regina Viarum Godello.
That's good. You did good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you can be surprised because the names are not that Spanish. You know, Regina Viarum is actually Latin, and it comes from Latin because all this region where these two wines, this one and the next red one you will taste, are made in a region called Ribeira Sacra, which is like a sacred river. And it is because the Romans, thousands of years ago, were the ones that began all these region and were the ones that started growing wine, grapes and making the wine. And that wine, it's the one they will take back to Rome for the emperors and for all their important people. So Regina Viarum means like the queen of the roads, because you know that Romans were very well known for the big roads that they built to connect all their emporiums. Yes. Yeah. And so that's why in some of our wines you will find names like this one, Regina Viarum, coming from Latin. Let's say the only way for them to grow the wine and do the harvest is by hand. So this wine and the second one you will taste tonight is hand-picked when the harvest happened.
Right. And Godello, could you tell us a little bit about Godello?
Yes, this is a very unique grape that grows also in Ribeira Sacra, and this wine that you're tasting right now, it's a very special edition. They only produce 7,000 bottles a year. This
would be moderate in the taste, that it has a mature fruit nose to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been 3 months in barrels and fine lees as well. So right. We hope you enjoy this.
And it's actually, it has good acidity and it's very well balanced.
I gotta mention, Chef, while you take a seat,
please,
that
sure.
This is one of the favorite wines from the owner of the company, who you can see pouring the wine right now. He comes directly from Spain, and he grew up in this region where these wines are made, and his family sells grapes to the wineries to produce this bottle. So you're getting wine directly from the people, from the families, from the winery right there in Spain.
That sounds pretty good. Now, what I'm about to tell you, I'm going to give you some other types of food that this goes with. But here's what the chef put together, and I think it's just a killer idea. And so they've taken Napa cabbage and braised it and put that on the base of our plate. In addition to that, they've taken sea scallops, which are pretty good. This has been seared, and the way you sear a scallop is to take an empty skillet, nothing in it, no butter, no oil, nothing. Turn it on to medium-high heat, and when it just starts to smoke a little bit, put the scallop in it with nothing on it, no oil, no salt and pepper, nothing on it. Put it in that skillet, and then don't touch it, don't move it around, don't play with it, just leave it there for probably 2, maybe 3 minutes. Then you can take some tongs and look at it and see if it's got a great color. If it doesn't, leave it alone and let it cook a little bit more. Then turn it over. When it comes to fish and seafood, there's a basic rule that chefs and all people that cook go by, and that is that for every 1 inch of thickness of the fish, or in this case the scallop, you cook it for a total of 10 minutes. So what he's done is taken the seared ski scallops and the braised Napa cabbage, a little bit of shiitake mushrooms, and then he's taken a little chicken stock that he's made and taken some of that and put it on the plate. So you look at the plate and you see a little drizzle, if you will. That's the chicken au jus, as we would call it. The braised cabbage. Sitting on top of that is a beautiful seared scallop that's got to taste wonderful. It's just very, very good. Anything you want to add to that?
I just would like to thank again Chef Dave Middleton. If whoever is here close to the door, you can see him working really hard, making these great pairings.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, Chef, but I think he did a great job. And this is also something to pay attention to, because these are Spanish wines with French food, you know, or Mediterranean food. So we regularly try to go with the same countries and the same food, you know, and not necessarily. So I hope you are all enjoying.
Yeah, that's very good. And that brings me to a point. You know, if you're in France and you order something to eat and the wine list has something besides French wine on it, and you say, oh, I like that and that would go well with this, go ahead and choose it. It doesn't have to be French wine with French food, Spanish wine and Spanish food. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Got to go to a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. We're here at Marché Bacchus. It's a beautiful bistro. Be back in just a moment.